Hey everybody, Sean here from Somm Wine Club, and I have got some wine for you. This is the 2019 Domaine de Baumard La Calèche. It's a 50-50 Chenin Blanc and Chardonnay blend from the Loire Valley that's part of the November 2022 Somm Wine Club box. Now, the Baumard family has been cultivating fruit and growing wine in the Loire Valley since the 1600s. The estate was started in 1955, and its current owner and winemaker, Florent Baumard, is one of the region's best producers. They are really well known for producing dry Chenin Blanc from the region of Savinière, as well as sweet Chenin Blanc from Côte de Chaume and Côte de Léon. Now, it's really interesting to have a producer that specializes in both dry Chenin Blanc and sweet Chenin Blanc. There are not too many of those producers in the Loire that kind of flip back and forth like that. The La Calèche, which means carriage, is their introduction to the estate. It's a 50-50 blend of Chenin and Chardonnay, like I said, that's aged for 9 months on the lees, all fermented in stainless steel, all done with indigenous yeasts, so no added yeasts to kick off fermentation. And it's really just about showing off the purity of the terroir here. The estate is in Rochefort-sur-Loire, which is just southwest of Angers. And the soils in this region are this beautiful tuffeau, chalky limestone. So lining the banks of the Loire River, you have these beautiful tuffeau cliffs that they've carved caves into, and that underpins the vineyards of the region. So always a very pronounced kind of minerally rich kind of nose to these wines. This one actually smells a little bit like flint, like gun flint. It has a little bit of almost like struck match. Now, since 2003, Baumard has been bottling everything under Stelvin closure, under screw cap. They were one of the first people in the region to move all of their wines to screw cap, and just for the purposes of consistency, they wanted to have a closure that was going to be guaranteed to be high quality and not going to have the flaws or the faults of a natural cork. So quite groundbreaking in the Loire, especially 20 years ago when still most people are bottling with cork. So, but when you bottle with a screw cap, sometimes you can get reduction. Reduction is what happens when wine sits in a low oxygen environment. The sulfur that's added to preserve the wine will start to pull the oxygen out, and when sulfur doesn't have enough oxygen to latch onto, it becomes free sulfur. And as soon as it is exposed to air, it actually starts to dissipate because it latches onto the oxygen that gets into the bottle once you have opened it. So just a good little splash into the glass, or a decant if you feel like putting it into a carafe to pour, you can do that. That often helps to kind of lift some of that reduction out of the wine. And it's already starting to dissipate here. So you've got lots of green apple, you've got lots of green pear, almost like a slightly underripe like pear skin. 2019 was not a cool vintage. This is a fairly robust and warm vintage, so there is more ripeness here. You get a mix of kind of ripe and underripe green and yellow fruit, and then really pretty kind of leesy, yeasty characters like toasted nuts, blanched almond, a little bit of like flaky pastry dough. Yes, that's what I love. That blast of fresh. It's like you just bit into a really, really delicious fresh green apple, and there's some weight behind this. There's some roundness from the vintage, but it's still like just a pop of fresh is the first thing that hits you as soon as you put that wine into your mouth. Yeah, great acidity, great balance of fruit concentration and freshness, great texture, like super, chalky, mineral rich finish that lingers. This is the entry level wine of the estate, and this is not an entry-level wine. This is an excellent wine that shows all the character of the vintage, of the region, of the grape varieties, and the skill of the winemaking team in producing something of this quality and getting it out there for people to experience what Baumard is all about. Now, if you want to try some of their premium wines, like their upper tier Savennier, look for the Clos de Saint Yves or the Clos du Papillon. Those are two of the bottles that you can find locally, and they're an outstanding way to try Chenin Blanc. Savennier will have a little bit more oxidation, a little bit more nuttiness, just kind of as added definition and flavor, not overwhelmingly so. But I'm really happy that they have this available that you can use as kind of a gateway drug for the Loire Valley. I've talked about the Loire a couple of times with other wines that I put into the box, and we don't talk about it enough. So I'm just going to keep hammering on the Loire Valley so that people kind of understand the magic and the beauty of this garden of France. Food-wise, because this wine has so much freshness kind of right up front, it's going to go great with something that needs that freshness to cut through a little bit of richness. Think like homemade chicken noodle soup. You can even go and do a kind of twist on it with like an avgolemona, which is like a Greek chicken noodle soup with an egg lemon sauce that they've folded into the soup to give it richness. This has that kind of flinty lemon zest kind of freshness to it. That would be delicious. But all kinds of options, whether you want to do pork, whether you want to do chicken, you could do roasted vegetables. Serve it a little warmer and you'll add roundness and body to the wine. Serve it a little cooler and you'll accentuate that freshness. So whichever direction you want to go for the food that you're having, kind of pick your temperatures. That's delicious. I'm thrilled to be sharing this with everybody. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. All right, cheers.